What's up, traders? Going 2 for 2 today. We're gonna jump right into it. As always, really slow day. Still made 50, almost 54 bucks. But I was saying this to somebody earlier. Anytime you see me trading tickers that people know what those tickers are, aka Uber and Moderna, it usually means it's a slow day, because it means that the small cap world, mid caps, etc., are just not popping, giving us plays, and it means I had to go look at the big caps, which sometimes they move and sometimes they move enough to try to get some money out of them. And that's what happened today. We ended up playing Uber and Moderna. Both made decent moves. They weren't anything special, but sometimes if you want to make some money, you got to take some risk on some lower graded plays. Like people grade things A, B, C setups. I would say that these were probably like B setups, maybe B minus. But hey, it is what it is. Jumping into it, Uber. It's still going to look the same, right? They're still going to look like the same setups I would take. It's just what they're missing is that speed. And when you get into bigger caps, it's harder to move these things. And it's a great analogy. Actually, Jake had just asked me in the Discord today, what's the meaning behind bigger caps versus smaller caps? And I use the analogy, and Brian from ISW actually gave this one to me, about imagine a go-kart and a tractor trailer driving down the road, just going straight, and then imagine they both have to turn around on a dime. Like, which one is going to turn around a lot quicker, the go-kart or the tractor trailer? And that's kind of what you can think of. Obviously, the go-kart is the small cap and the tractor trailer is the big cap. It's going to take a tractor trailer a lot longer to turn around. And so if you think about that with a large cap stock, as it's moving up, sure, some of these can move up and down pretty quickly, right? Some of them can be volatile, thinking of Tesla and whatnot. But in most cases, you're not going to see them move up super fast. They're going to kind of grind their way up, which means it's going to be hard for them to come down fast. AKA, it's going to take a long time for that tractor trailer to turn around. Where if you have a small cap, there's a lot less in the float. They're a lot more volatile. When that thing goes up, that thing can shoot right back down, right? So that's kind of the analogy behind small cap versus large cap. And when you're trading these large caps, you have to kind of just be wary of that. That's all. So with Uber, we did have that previous resistance from the pre-market. And if we scroll in, you'll see it was a pretty decent move. And we were just waiting for a key area. Went through a $0.50, went up to the 70s, and it started to struggle. So we took a position, which, it was really just a starter at 66. The high ended up being 73, which is good. And I was really just looking. I had an order out at 33. But it got down to like 35, 36, and it kept stalling a little bit. So I ended up just throwing it out there, and we got filled at 35. I wasn't about to let this thing, because it was pretty much straight down to that point, and I wasn't about to let it try to bounce and get back up to 50. And, it was just a starter. I got more than I really expected. I was expecting to have to probably do what I was doing like right at 50. So the fact that it kind of kept going straight down, I just left my order there. And if we got filled, we got filled. But then it started to kind of bounce there. And so we took it. And then, of course, right after that, it did try to bounce a little. If you go watch the trade live over there on Twitch, link will obviously always be the first pinned comment down below. It just kept going down. It was pretty frustrating. So it is what it is. Still made a decent amount on something I probably wouldn't have normally traded. And so over to Moderna. This one made a pretty good move. It was volume out of nowhere. But again, you'll see it kind of grinded, and then boom, we got this volume out of nowhere. And I couldn't find any news on it or anything. But we did try to start it here, and you can see it did try to pull back, but we were looking for much more out of it. And then it took off again. And so we were like, okay, well, no real pullback. This was a pretty decent move. It's on some volume. Let's kind of get into it. But as you can see, it took a lot longer. It took a good 4-5 minutes for this thing to start pulling back down, right? So it kind of stalled out here at the top for 2 minutes, then another 2 minutes making this candle here, and that's when we finally came down. So about like 3 or 4 minutes, I should say, not 4 or 5, but it takes longer for these to kind of turn around, and it didn't really give back a lot of the move. It was almost half the move on my bottom cover there, but you can see this thing grinded and made new highs. So obviously there's probably some kind of news. I think somebody had mentioned something about the oral version for the kids, the COVID, like oral medication, not medication, but the vaccine. So I guess obviously that would be really good for kids, because no kid wants to get a shot. And that was our 2 trades, Moderna and Uber, and nothing too crazy. It kind of sucks because after yesterday we had a pretty awesome day. And then today, at least we grabbed something, right? And it's funny because, you know, $54, a month ago, we would have been pretty happy about it. But, when you get that taste of a hotter market and, and you're starting to scale up every week, you're like, come on, give it to me. And so, yeah, on to tomorrow. And until then, don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate that support. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. You can find me on Discord or over on Twitter. Those links are down in the description. And I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.